Hi there and welcome along to another RowAlong Time to Fly workout where we fit in an amazing workout in just under 40 minutes of your day. Today's plan is a 4-minute warm-up followed by a 30-minute main session, then a 2-minute cool down, and we're all done with our day. Alright, so we're going to mix up the intervals a little bit, that usual intensity of 20 strokes a minute, 24 and 30. I will obviously call out what's going on, but you can keep an eye on the graphics in the background as well. So let's get ourselves into that warm up, and before we can get there we have to set up our machines. So I want you to look at resistance first and set it somewhere where you feel you're nicely connected to the stroke, but you don't have to tug and heave and pull early against it in order to get the thing moving. I have my Averon set to 12, it goes up to 16. I've got it set to 12 today because I feel that's where I get a nice feel for that stroke. If I was on the Concept 2, I would have the drag factor set to around about 130 to 140 depending on what I was wanting to do that day. Next up, let's go to the foot straps, the foot stretcher height, how high your feet sit in the foot plates. What you're looking for is a position where you can come into the front of the stroke with your shins in a vertical position comfortably. If you're set too high, you can get a bit stuck, can't quite get there. If you're set too low, it can be really easy to get there. What happens is your backside escapes from underneath you because you over compress. So the ballpark here is if you can set the height of your foot plate so that the straps cover the balls of your feet, which is usually the widest part of your feet, then that's the great starting point. And then you can adjust up and down from there for your own comfort and flexibility, okay? Hopefully that helps. So if you're ready, we're gonna get into this 4-minute warm-up. Take it off at a nice little easy intensity to start, all right? Remember, it's a warm-up, not a hit the ground running up, okay? So let's get into this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Just get moving, especially in this first minute, just get moving. I mean, even if you have been working out in the gym beforehand and you're feeling nice and warm, then just use this first minute to get your backside comfortable on the seat, to think about how you're holding the handle, to then move on to this rock backwards and forwards over your hips. So really think about sitting up on your sit bones. When the handle comes away, sit up. Okay, you're not like a plank of wood, but I want you to have a good posture and sit up. And try and think about just your sit bones connecting to the seat. And then for the handle, hook your fingers over the handle. I prefer thumbs under. That gives me a straight line of power. But hook your fingers over the handle rather than a death grip, okay? And then you can think about rocking your upper body forwards over your hips to a 1 o'clock angle forwards, and then at the back of the stroke, aim for an 11 o'clock angle. Just pump back and forwards over your hips. Now today's workout, we're gonna actually do a little bit more in the 24 strokes a minute region, because we're gonna do 1 minute at 20 strokes a minute, low intensity, then up to 2 minutes at 24, at that kind of hard intensity, then 1 minute up at 30 for that fast stuff, and then we just repeat that until we're done. Simple workout, but I'll get you working. But after this next stroke, we're going to get into some drills. So let's put one foot on the ground, continue rowing. Now you can skip these drills if you want, but they will help your rowing. These single leg drills help with your flexibility. They open up your hips as you come forwards. They'll also give you a chance to work on the sensation of pushing with each of your legs, just in case you push with one more than the other one. Okay, last one here. Swap feet. Whoop. And then continue with the other one. And do think about that solid push of the leg that you've got strapped in right now. Even though you've only got one leg in, you still want to make sure and push from it. Keep those arms straight at the front, and then just push your leg into the machine. We're going to do 2 more of these, then put both feet back in. So here we go. Strap them back up again, then legs straight, and we're gonna row with our back and arms. So keep those legs straight, maybe have a soft bend to your knees, and then swing over your back, pull in your arms, release your arms, rock forwards again. So you can get used to that backswing, then pulling is the last thing you do in your stroke. One more here, and let's roll into the front with straight arms and a forwards tilt, and just press out with your legs. Don't worry about power here, okay? I don't want you to think about pushing really hard. What I want you to think about is keeping this forwards tilt and your arms straight as your feet connect to the foot plates, trying to kind of snap the handle into your machine at the same time you push. Do one more here, and now we're going to get into our main set, starting at 20 strokes a minute, low intensity. Now this is going to end up being an important interval each time we come back to it, because it's going to be our recovery interval. So I want you to find that 5 out of 10 low intensity, zone 2-ish pace where you know you're exercising, but it doesn't feel hard. It's the same as though you were just walking upstairs. Your muscles are working, your heart rate has increased, your breathing rate has increased, but it doesn't feel like you're sprinting, okay? Because you're gonna find that we're gonna be working pretty hard after the next 2 minutes. So we're gonna take one more stroke here, and now we're gonna go up to 24 strokes a minute. So push a little bit harder with your legs, and you're gonna take your stroke time from 1 every 3 seconds when you're at 20 to 1 every 2.5 seconds. You can do that by pushing a little harder with your legs and then recovering a little faster. Really is the recovery that's key here. Pushing harder with the legs helps put more power in. You brace a little harder against the handle, and that, when you return for the recovery, it's like a spring that helps you increase your recovery to the front of the machine again. Another minute here. And so these 2 minutes working at 24 strokes a minute, they might not feel particularly hard right now, but trust me, as we go through this workout, these are going to get more and more of a slog. And then in 30 seconds time, we're going to add in 1 minute at 30 strokes a minute. Not quite sprint pace, but certainly, I'm going to guess, maybe 6 to 12 seconds faster than you're rowing right now for 1 minute. Okay, 2 more strokes. 1 more. You ready? So push harder with the legs, and what you're looking for now is 1 second drive, 1 second recover. And the 2 ways to help that are to get that handle away from you and trigger your forwards rock. That helps with momentum into the front of the machine, but also by not pausing at either end of the machine. So I'm not holding it against my chest. Almost there. So in 5 strokes time, we go back to 20 strokes a minute. 1 more. back to 20s for 1 minute. So we can look at that as an extended warm-up. You'll have taken the zing out of your muscles, and now you can really look at the pace that you're rowing at for these 20s as your recovery pace that you want to return to each time. So I'm down at 156, 157, and so that's the pace that I want to return to each time we come back to the 20s, which are over in 2 strokes time. One more, and we're back up to 24. So hopefully, or possibly, now that we're back at 24 again, you get what I'm saying about how this will, over the course of the half-hour workout, it'll really start to dig in on you, because we only get that 1 minute of recovery in between these 24s and the 30. It's like we're taxiing on the runway, and then we start our takeoff for these 2 minutes, and then we take off for the 1 minute at 30s, really trying to crowbar in some kind of a flying analogy here, as being the series is called Time to Fly. So keep that pressure up with your legs at the drive. Push, keep your arms straight, let the power flow first from your legs through your back into your straight arms, then swing over your hips and finish by pulling in your arms. All right, 2 more strokes, 1 more, and we're back up to 30 strokes a minute. And hopefully, if you've been keeping an eye on your pace through this workout so far, you'll have noticed that you leap up when you hit 24, and again at 30. So my 20s were at 156, 157, and these 30s are at 142, 143, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to those low intensity 20s. And this time round, it's really important to put across that you need to keep these at your sensible pace, because if you get over eager here and go too fast, you're going to tire yourself out prematurely, possibly not make it through today's workout. So I'm still 156, 157. You can be whatever pace you need to be, but after this stroke, I want you to see an increase as we take it up to 24. So I've jumped from 156, 57 to 150, 151. And that is what I want you to think about. It's not my actual pace that matters. It's the difference between the low intensity 20s and these mid hard intensity 24s. I want them to be around about 6-7 seconds difference. Another minute here. Try and hold your pace. Remember, this is one of the reasons I bang on about technique so much, is that if you can have a consistent stroke, you're approaching the front of the machine in the same position each time, and you have a kind of feel for how much to push with your legs, then you're much more likely to hold your stroke rate and your pace. Okay, 4 more, then we're up to 30 again. Last one here. You ready? Let's go. Now I really want your rate to be up here, along with your pace and power. If you're finding you can't hit 30 strokes a minute, then really think about that handle away from your chest and your posture. Handle away and then tilt forwards over your hips. I'm not tugging on the foot straps because that collapses my posture. Almost there. 3, 2, 1. Back to recovery 20s. There's a reason that this is called comfortable steady state, is that this is where you settle down and get comfortable rowing again. Not too slow, but definitely don't go too fast. Now if you're keeping count, we're going to do 7 rounds of this row. That takes us to 28 minutes. And then we'll surprise finish. Okay, 1 more, and then we're back up to 24 strokes a minute. It really does come round fast again, doesn't it? But what I want you to do is really, focus on this being like climbing a hill each time, where 20 strokes a minute, you're starting off, it's relatively easy, and then you've got a long slog up a steeper part of the hill, and then you have a sharp finish. And I want that to be how your intensity is, that you're increasing your power, your speed, your intensity as you go through each of the chunks. So from 20 to 24 to 30, there should be increases. If you are easing back on the 24s or the 30s and going too fast on the 20s, you're not doing this workout right at all. These are meant to be tough, the 24 and 30, so don't make them easy by going too slow. Right, 2 more, 1 more, and we're up to 30 for 1 minute again. 1 second drive, 1 second recovery. Should be relatively metronomic here. If you have a timer in front of you, really the rhythm you're looking for is every time you hit the back, you see it tick over to a new second. Every time you finish sliding forwards, it ticks over to the next second. It's a great way to find your rhythm at 30 strokes a minute. 3, 2, 1, back to easy 20s. My heart rate has climbed from like 110 at the very beginning of this main part of the workout to it just finished at 145 after those 30s. So overall, your intensity should be on the up, even though you're rowing these 20s at the same pace. Your kind of perceived effort for the whole row should now be feeling harder. 1 more here, and we're taking it back up again. My original intention for this row was actually to do 1 minute at 20, 3 at 24, and 1 at 30. But I kind of wanted to keep this ticking along, changing quite fast. And as good as sitting at tempo 24s would be for 3 minutes, I really want this to be more of a zing of a workout where you are in control of your intensity the whole way through. And plus, the quicker changeovers between rates, that does make the time fly. Maybe that's why I called this series Time to Fly. It's got nothing to do with how you're rowing. It's got everything to do with how time flies when you mix it up like this. Coming up for the next set of 30s. Two more strokes. Get ready. Here we go. Push. And what should happen is that when you push your legs harder, if you get your connection right, you should really feel a noticeable difference in how much you are bracing against the handle with those straight arms. So in 20 seconds time, when we ease off the power, notice the difference. 4, 3, 2, 1. Ease off the power. Oh. And it should feel that this is a lot lighter. As you put less power into the machine. I hope you're feeling the intensity of this workout. Remember, you get out of it what you put in, and your input really needs to be the 24s and the 30s, which are coming up next. So 2 more strokes and we're up to 24. You ready? Let's go. And again, you will have felt a light increase in that brace against the handle as you go up to 24 and push harder with your feet, but it's much more noticeable between 20 and 30. And please note that I am not talking about pulling on the handle at any point. I'm talking about bracing against the handle as you start the stroke, and then at the back, it's almost like a recoil. Your arms have no other option but to finish what you start with your legs and pull in to a finish. But you're not pulling from the front. You might have convinced yourself that you're faster with an early pull, but that's temporary and you will hit a ceiling. All these monster CrossFit bodybuilding type athletes that can use their arms to row at 125 pace, they can't hold that for much more than 500 meters. Whereas if you use all your body, it's much more efficient. Okay, 3 more strokes. 1 more. Then we're back up to 30. Find that kind of metronome rhythm here. This is the only ratio really where you're likely to be bang on 1-to-1 in terms of drive and recovery. Like again, looking at 20 strokes a minute, that's more like 1-to-2. 1 second drive, 2 seconds recovery. But this should feel very metronomic. Right, 3, 2, 1, back. And so here, you still put in enough power to hit your pace and make it feel like exercise. But because you are taking 2 seconds to recover, it's a much more, well, I'd say easy stroke rate, but easy is very much defined by where you are in your workout, because it's not feeling easy right now. Okay, in 3 strokes time, we're back up to 24. You ready? Push harder. Recover a tiny bit faster. Take it to 1 stroke every 2.5. Now the good news is that we'll do these 24s, then we'll do the 30s, and then we'll do the recovery 20s, and that will take us to 29 minutes. So how do we round it up to a full hour? The very last minute of today's workout, we are going to spend the first 30 seconds up at 30 strokes a minute. Same pace we've been hitting so far. But then the final 30 seconds of today's workout, we're going to sprint. High rate, high power. Of course, if you're hanging by a thread, you don't have to do the sprint, but kind of like going out for a meal and you're stuffed, then someone offers you ice cream and you go, oh, ice cream. There's always room for ice cream. So there's always room for a sprint. 2 more strokes and we're up to 30. You ready? So this is just a straight 30 for 1 minute. Don't worry about sprints or anything yet. We're just gonna see off our main workout as we have been. So whatever pace you've been hitting at your 30s, I want you to make sure you're still there for the next 10 strokes. Then we get to recover. Almost there. 3 strokes. All right, so use these 20s to recover and prepare. Don't make excuses. I know it's easy for your brain to take over and tell you to go easy. I've been there. I went for a run yesterday and just the last kilometer, my brain got in the way and was like, let's just ease off. And I made the mistake of listening to it. I don't want you to listen to your subconscious. Coming up. So we're gonna get 30 seconds, normal 30 strokes a minute. After this one, You ready? And really focus on the handle away, trying to take full slides into the front and full strokes to the back. Don't choke the finish because we're about to go sprinting in 3 strokes time. You ready? Let's go. So take the rate up to whatever you can manage and push as hard as you can with your legs. 10 seconds. I'm down at 130 pace. Last one. Not looking forward to the playback of my technique in that last 30, but this is why you wanted to concentrate on the first 30 seconds. So, would you like to get into a 2-minute cool down? Let's do that in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So, use this as a way to let your body settle down after what was a tough workout with that rather spicy finish. I used to have like a chili, what's the word I'm looking for? Legend on all of my thumbnails that would describe how spicy a workout is, so that when you saw it you go, all right, is that going to be an easy fitness building one, which is a green chili, or a totally max workout, which was a red chili? I think he was blowing fire, or one that's just hard, one that you come off going, wow, that was a tough workout, but I don't need to lie on the floor. The max ones, the red chilies, they're the ones that you're kind of done and people fall off machines and things. Yeah, so there's an orange chili in between. And I definitely think today's workout, even though intensity wise, that last 30 seconds was a red chili, overall, orange. I should probably bring that back, just as a little nod. So you've got like a traffic light system, so you know how hard the workout will be. Okay, one more stroke after this one, and I'm all done with today's cool down. You, of course, do not need to stop your cool down just because I have. You can carry on cooling down. Maybe take a moment when you're all done to stretch. Recommend your quads. Today we've probably got a bit of a workout, so stretch your quads, hamstrings, glutes, possibly your shoulders, depending on how it felt for hanging off the handle, forearms as well. But if forearms hurt, it's usually because you're pulling too soon. So I'd address that if I were you. And then, of course, have something to drink, have something to eat, have a shower, and have an amazing day. So I really hope you enjoyed that one. I mean, that was, again, I love this series. It's maybe, you don't really want to run all 8 of these together because they're all kind of up there with intensity. You might want to stick in a couple of low intensity rows in between, but I'm loving this series, so hopefully you are too. Remember, the rest of them are all up here for you to see as well, as are a whole bunch of my other workouts, so hopefully you'll enjoy one of them. Until the next time, please look after yourselves. Row well, be well. Bye-bye.